Actually, we're going to start adding some legs here. So to do so, we're going to actually just drag that out, and I'll hold down the shift, and then also go to rotate, kind of push these into place how we want them. So actually just kind of rotating, push these into, so just kind of have a little bit of a little forward, and also scale just a little bit. And I'll push these up into his hips a little bit more, and also scale down in the Y just a little bit, just so get those legs. So this is basically his the under body, just basically his body shape that we'll be building the clothes on top of as at a later date. So we'll just continue with that leg and add another appendage. Use the appendage brush and add that right on the bottom here. These ones, I want to make these ones skinny, and also rotate them kind of into place from side view. You'll notice his legs are pretty skinny in the drawing, so, and I'm going to reset the gizmo, and also just scale down, and also scale out in X, and a little rotation. Just so we get those legs. They're going to be a little weird, but actually what I'm going to do is kind of shape that leg out. So usually there's a curve in this leg. So usually most people have that curve right there in their leg, and then we'll build out that muscle right there on the leg. Oops. Yeah, the move brush is your friend in Zbrush. It really helps. There's so many things that this move brush can do for you. So actually just going to straighten this out, kind of bring this over. Just kind of look at our proportions and what we're looking at right now. And for the most part, his body is pretty much where I'm kind of looking. And so from here, we'll just unmask, just kind of check how things are looking here. So from this point, so for this next piece, I'm going to take these upper legs and just make some light adjustments to them. So we're going to actually hold down Control and Shift and select the legs, and then we're going to hold down Control and select around and mask that area, and then hit Control Shift, select on the outside area, bring the other stuff back, and hold down Control and hit the outside of that area. We get that those legs, that part of the leg unmasked. So this is all we're working on, is this shape. And so we'll go to our move brush, and then we can make those adjustments to these legs, just kind of bringing that shape up a little bit, kind of bringing that leg back into the rump a little bit more, just kind of, and also forming this shape, the leg, the quad right there, forward just a little bit, and pushing that in. Just kind of trying to build those basic shapes out just a little bit. Just kind of thinking about the anatomy here. My quad. And with the knee shape currently how we have it. We could add like another little shape right here, another little piece that will give us the knee. I'm not so sure that we're going to see the knee so much, so I'm not too worried about it. But for sakes of if we ever see him without clothes, we'd want to see his knee. So actually I'm just going to add a knee to the scene. And so we're going to just add that IMM brush, actually clear our mask. And to do so, you remember again, we just hold that control down and drag. And then we're going to grab a quad sphere again and just kind of place that sphere right there. And we will go to our move and place that kind of right in that general area where his knee is. Actually, I'm going to scale, not scale, but just kind of get a zoom in a little bit so I can see that shape. And actually go to my move brush and just kind of shape that. Shape that. Actually, this brush is a little too big, so just kind of bring that down a little bit. And just kind of build that knee shape. All right, we're just continuing here on this knee here. Just kind of bringing that top part of the knee up. Clean this up right here. Move this over a little more. Almost like a kneecap shape is what we're looking for. And then we'll just push this area in just a little bit. Alright, that kneecap shape looks like it's going to work for now. So next we're going to move over to the feet. And I'll grab that IMM brush, the appendage, and just drag that out for his feet. And then for this, gonna rotate. Just kind of push that foot into place. Scale that down a little bit. Move that so kind of see the heel. Looks a lot like his feet are a little short, so I'm gonna just bring them out just a little bit more. Scale in Z. And then also scale, actually we're gonna say local symmetry and scale in X. Just to kind of beef up those feet a little bit. And a little bit more in, gonna reset the, hold down Alt and reset the pivot on this. On the gizmo. So, and then I'm gonna actually just scale in Z as well. And we are moving, we're scaling from this point currently, so with that, I'm going to actually go back to draw mode and just kind of take a look and see how that looks. Alright, so from this point, we're going to actually use the move brush and kind of pull this into a foot shape. More along where our heel is, and just kind of push this in. It's kind of pulling up a little bit too, right here on this. Actually want to keep these sides for now. Just kind of push this It's kind of where the ankle, the ball of the ankle there. So I'm just kind of trying to get a general shape for the foot. I usually push this in. This usually comes out. And with this, we're not going to actually form any toes just because we're going to have shoes on, so I'm not too worried about the actual shoe right now. So it's actually pushing up in the foot where our arches are, almost like he's wearing just socks. So we're just kind of making a general assumption with the foot there. That might be a little much there. I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. We have ankle here. Alright, so with that, just almost have his body complete. Actually just going to scale down and just kind of see where we're at scale-wise. Might be a little long on the feet, but for now we'll make adjustments to the complete of the body once we get to that point. For now, this will work with putting those feet on. So the next part, we're going to move over to the arms, and to do so, I'm going to actually grab and unmask everything from the body and just kind of take a look at that, see what we got. And then from here we're going to add the arms, and to do so we're going to actually go and grab that quad sphere 2 again, and we'll put this in the general shoulder area. And for that, I'm going to actually just move this back a little bit. Move your shoulders back, and then also push them in. Push them in just a little bit so we can get that shoulder. And then from here, we will start making adjustments with the move brush. All right, so actually just kind of push this down just so it's a little more rounded, and then a little flat as well. This is just kind of the starting of the shoulder. And with that shoulder in place, I'm actually going to break the arms off into their own for now. And so to do so, if you go to Shane's 3D Character Workshop menu, you can actually split unmasked points, so anything that's unmasked currently in the subtool that we have, will split it into its own subtool. So once we hit that, you'll notice that right underneath the body we have a new subtool, which is our shoulders now. And so we can work on this, and I will go to this layer and rename it to arms. And then so now all we have that on its own subtool. So from this point, we'll just continue to build the top part, and then we'll build the lower part of the arm, and then we'll build the hand, thumb, and fingers. And most of this will be using the appendage tool, and we'll make adjustments onto that. So his arms are kind of skinny, and this looks a little long. So I will go to the move tool just to kind of scale that down a little bit, and then I'll move more into place. And I want these arms to be the way that in the drawing they're currently down, and we could build them like so. Put him more into an A frame. It is usually better when we're rigging that those are, well, there's two different train of thoughts, either the A frame pose or a T pose, where a T pose is going to be more straight out. The only thing about the T pose that I've heard and also seen is sometimes the shoulders look like they're kind of bulged up. So that's why a lot of people will go with the A-frame, just so that you get that, you build in the natural, so the shoulder kind of lays a little low. Some characters, some 3D characters, you see them and they look like they're kind of hunched. That's usually from a T-pose, and they don't adjust those, they don't adjust the shoulder blades, or they don't adjust the shoulder, the clavicles in the animations or whatnot. So for now, we'll probably just roll with the medium A-frame. We'll go with that for now, and because there's ways you can still rig that way, and it turns out just fine. So we'll go with that for now, and then I'm actually just going to scale down just a little bit, and then scale in Z as well. And I just want to take a look at kind of how those arms are looking. And so I will make some adjustments with the move brush just to kind of give us more of that arm shape that we're, and I will use the shift to smooth, just to kind of smooth this area out. Again, this is where just blocking this in. Once we get to the cleanup state, we'll start making those adjustments to his arm. So also one thing I do notice too, I just want to kind of push those back a little bit. So when we do get to, all right, and I'm going to scale down in Z just a little. And he still looks like his arms are kind of chunky, so I'm actually going to just do an overall scale on those and just kind of move them more into place. Alright, it looks like his elbow lands about midsection, so we'll just actually just a little bit more scale, and then go back to draw mode, and then select that IMM brush and the quad sphere, or the appendage, and we'll just add that appendage onto the end here. Scale that sucker down too, and that's really long, so we're going to want to make those adjustments as well. And so with the local symmetry, I want to scale in the Z and just kind of bring the elbow part of the lower arm down here. And it looks like his hands are about his waist, which is, his hands are going to be a little bit lower than his waist, which is about the area that we're looking for. So with this in mind, I'm going to move over to the move brush and just make some of those adjustments again, just to connect these. Turn off local symmetry so I don't forget. And so for this, I'm just trying to find a good angle to actually tweak this. So we get that forearm, the top of the forearm, and a little bit on the lower part, and kind of just pushing that wrist area in a little bit, just so it's not as pronounced. So with his arm, and then this elbow, we want that elbow there. For this elbow, I'm probably going to use the inflate brush just a touch, just to kind of fold that out a little bit and smooth. Take my smooth brush down just a little bit so it's not as prominent. I'm still working with the inflate brush, and so I'm just kind of pushing that out, or inflating that elbow, and then softening. And then so I'll grab that move brush again and just start making those adjustments with the arm. Look at those shapes, how we have those. It looks like his arms might be a little long, a little long currently, so what I want to do with that is actually just go back to the scale and turn on local symmetry again, and we're going to scale from where that yellow square is. And so in the Z, I'm going to actually just bring that down just to kind of bring his arms up a little bit more. And then I'm going to select the, go back into draw mode, and then also just hold down Control and unmask those arms. So just kind of taking a look size-wise. I think those arms will work fine for now. May need to still make some adjustments, but currently it looks like it's going to work okay. I do want to make some adjustments to the top of the arm. So to do so, again, I want to actually, so to select that poly group, we hold Control-Shift, select the blue, and then we're going to mask those off. And then hold down Control-Shift to bring our other objects back, and Control-Click to just, all we have is our blue groups. I'm going to turn polyframe off and just make those adjustments with the move brush. So I'm just kind of bringing this, actually, yes, almost thought I was in my, I'm just smoothing this area out. I noticed that there was some bumpy lumps. So I just want to adjust that, kind of smooth. And I'm just lightly tapping in those areas. And it's kind of, we get that part of our arm here like that. And smooth just a little bit. I'm actually going to put our character more straight on. There you go, that arm looks a little better. I will make just a little bit of adjustment on this inner arm. Push this one out a little bit so we get more of a straight, and then just kind of like a, we want this nice curve to our arm, and this one kind of straight and then into a curve. So I'm trying to think of the design principles that we always hear with straights and curves, and so I'm trying to look at that, try and keep that in mind. So yeah, actually I do want to make another adjustment that I see to the body, and so I'm going to select this top part and mask that off. And then Control-Shift, Control. So now I can see this part. This part I want to be more coming like this. So like I want it to look more like that. So like this, instead of bulb out like that. So it's not a woman, it's a man, so we want to have that nice and flat, like so. So with that in mind, I'm going to have to go back here again, just mask that off, and then make that adjustment with the move brush. I'm just kind of pushing this in. Actually, just kind of smoothing that out as well with the smooth brush. And smooth. And smoothing this out. Just kind of, so it's just more flat and not really have a bulb look to it. So with that, I'm going to unmask that. So you can kind of see that if you were to see, you know, he'll have his little belly and what his legs are looking like.